Friends, we are here with our speaker, Robert Pugh, who is going to take us through an amazing adventure with Omni. First, I'm going to give him an opportunity to introduce himself. Robert, my friend, how are you today?
I'm brilliant, feeling good and very excited for getting this first convention on the go.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're super happy that you're here with us. Tell us a little bit about your background, Robert, for those of us who don't know.
Okay, well, I mean, normally it would probably take me an hour to explain my background, so I'm going to try and cram it into as fast as I can. So briefly, I'm an international wedding and portrait photographer. So the international, because I do travel all over the globe. My normal stomping ground is sort of Dominic and Cuba for weddings, a lot in the UK. My career basically started in the army. So I was a sniper in the army, did 8 years, came out, and I studied photography before I went into the forces. So it was a natural progression to go back into photography when I came out. Fell in love with weddings. I was a celebrity photographer, so that's where it all began for me. So the likes of X Factor here in the UK, that's what I did for 3 years on the trots, covering that. And then transitioned over to weddings. It suited my style. I'm very flamboyant. I like to create things. And also that's where kind of Lens Baby came into it as well. Because of their match for me with like the Omni and their lenses, it really suited my style of creating in camera. I do like to edit, but I like to get as much as I can right in camera. So I'm just going to show you my website. So if you do want to know a little bit more about me, you can head over there, browse, view, and have a read at some of the blogs.
Yeah, that's awesome, Robert. And I love the adventure of stepping into the things that you love in so many different ways, and then using Lens Baby as a way to further capture those things that, you know, really help you set yourself apart as a photographer. So that's really beautiful. Can't wait to see your course. You're going to show us your website here real quick. If you guys are interested before the class or after, make sure that you go check out Robert's website. We'll put a link in the description and in the comments for you.
So head over to, this is my website, the homepage, loads of information there. Head to the blog. We've got loads happening in the blog for you to read through and find out a bit more about me and how I use the Lens Baby lenses as well. So I'm just going to throw this screen back to Michael. There you go, Michael.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Robert. And one final question for you. Can you give us a quick overview about what we're about to see in your course?
Oh, well, you know, what are you not going to see? So I'm going to basically, I've got it here, the Omni set. I carry it around with me everywhere. It lives in my camera bag. And I'm going to show you how to create different effects using the base kit. So we'll first have a look at what comes in the base kit. We'll have a look at the extras as well that you can add on. But I want to show you what you can do when you get this delivered straight out of the box. So we'll run through some really simple effects, but effective creative effects as well.
Brilliant, Robert. We can't wait. Shoot Extraordinary Conference. It's time. Getting ready right now. Grab your popcorn, grab some coffee. Robert Pugh, my friends.
Hi and welcome to my studio. So before we get started with the live shoot that's going to happen just behind me, I just want to talk to you about the Omni Creative Filter Kit. So I've got one here with me and we'll have a closer look at this before we start. But there is one important thing you're going to have to do before you purchase one, and that is go to your most used lenses and find out what the filter thread size is on the lens. I say that because there's two options when ordering one of these. You can either order it with a step down ring kit in a 49 to a 58 millimeter, or the second option of a 62 to an 82 millimeter. Now, as a rule of thumb, I would probably say that if you're an Olympus, Fuji, Panasonic shooter, then you're probably going to be ordering the 49 to the 58 millimeter because their lenses are a lot smaller. If you're a Sony, a Nikon, a Canon shooter, then you're probably going to be going for the 62 to 82 millimeters to cover your step down rings, because your lenses are larger in that format. And that's really the only decision that you need to do. So moving on from that, the kit itself, awesome. I use it all the time. As a wedding and portrait photographer, I want to take my images to that next level, but I don't want to be spending hours in Photoshop editing away. I want my clients to see that effect there and then. So when I'm doing a wedding, I do that portrait shoot, I show them the back of the camera and they're like, wow, they can see the effect, their eyes widen up, they're so excited, and that gets my creative skills sort of flowing and more excited as well. But if I've got to just show them the back of the camera and then try and explain to them the effect that I'm going to do when I'm editing, they'll probably give you a bit of a confused look and think, well, you know, why that looks okay. That's why I love the Omni set, because it allows me to see that effect instantly in camera. It allows me, my creative skills, to just flow out and basically create anything I want. Okay, so the kit itself comes in this lovely pouch, which I really like. There is these strips on the back. They're more for when you buy the expansion kit. So the expansion kits can stick onto the back, so it keeps everything neat and tidy and all together. As you open it up, you've got two extension bars there, and then you've got the crystals or the wands that live in this little pocket. And then at the back, you've got the disc. So the disc is what I would say is the Omni, and it helps create all the effects, because without this it just wouldn't work. We've got two magnets here. The magnets rotate around, and then on the back you've got the thread. So the actual disc itself is 77 millimeters, and if your lens is a 77 millimeter, this will just go straight onto your lens. You don't need any step down rings. But for me, my lens is 67 millimeters on the filter thread, so I have a step down ring to bring it down to that, from 77 to 67. And now it goes straight onto my lenses, so happy days there. Like I say, two magnets, and if we get an extension bar, I'll just pull one out. It just goes straight on there with magnets, and now it's like a knuckle, you know, we can move it all around and we're not limited to any direction we go. It can go anywhere you want. So say we get a wand out, so this is the kind of rainbow effect, or the light leaks I like to call it. And you can put this on, and now you can see the flexibility. We can actually maneuver this everywhere, and we can even move it around like so. Okay, you don't need to just stick with one. Now when I'm doing a wedding, I would probably say I've more got this on when I'm creating some portraits. The other favorite one that I like to use is the seahorse. So this crystal, and this crystal goes on there, and again I can just bring this in to create the effect that I want. I love this kind of crystally bokeh, the effect that you get with this. Now we are going to be demoing these two just in a moment, so you can see them happening. I am going to stick to just using the starter pack, the creative kit, so you can see exactly what this can do. And obviously you can expand on this as well. So I've got two packs here, so let's just have a look. So this is the crystal expansion pack, and the crystal expansion pack comes with like the prism. We all used to carry a prism round, put it in front of the lens and hold it there as we maneuver it around. So I do love this as well, really handy to use. I won't go through everything that's in the pack itself, so I'll just throw up on the screen there what is included in the crystal expansion pack, so you can see that. And then I've also got the flare expansion pack. So they all do come in these bags as well, and you can see that we can just velcro these together, and there you go, a nice easy carry around, and it's got all your stuff in one place. And in the flare, the difference with the flare is you can see how it flares out the crystals. The way I like to use this one, so I'll just demo on here. Let's just pull this one off. And we'll pop this one on. So I like to use this where it's being pushed outwards from the lens like that. And you get this nice flare sort of coming through your image. So really handy and nice to use. And again, I'll pop up on the screen what crystals are included in the flare pack. So those are just two small examples of expansion packs. Obviously there's quite a few of them. I'll throw up again on the screen what expansion packs they are so you can see them. Another one of mine is the colour expansion pack, so very nice to use to add those different colours in. Brilliant for the summer where you want to add that boost of colour and that flare into your images as well. So without any further ado, let's head behind me over to the studio part and let's create some images. So I just want to do a sort of a recap of how we're going to shoot, okay? I could use flash, but I decided I'm going to use the ambient light around me because most people who's buying this kit, maybe they don't have flashes or fancy lights. So I'm going to just be using this ambient light that's all around. I will be putting one big light on over there. It's a constant light, and that is purely so you can see me working and the model working, because with video we have to light it to a certain degree so you can see what's going on. I am being lit with light here. The camera I'm going to use, so I'm a Sony shooter, so this would be my normal shooting camera. This is the Sony A9, and again it all fits on the front, no problem. But I want to show you how versatile the kit is and that it can work on any camera no matter what. So I'm actually going to be using what I class as my personal camera, what I take on holiday with me. So that is the Fuji X100V. Okay, you're probably thinking, wow, that's a bit Frankenstein. What is on that? Well, generically it's a 35mm, but I like to shoot in a 50mm. So I have the 50mm lens adapter on there to turn it into a 50mm. And then you can see that I can actually put the Omni on front of the adapter. So it just goes to show you, even if you've got a fixed focal length camera, you can still use the Omni on there, okay? And you can see it's all set up with the crystals on there and it's all ready to go. Now, I'm not going to edit any of these pictures. I'm going to take the image, and you can see the image comes straight up on the screen for you to see. So it's really important to know that I'm shooting in JPEG. I've put all my settings in to the camera, and then I've attached all the wands and the effects that I want in the image. And I'm going to take the image like that. We could edit it, we could stick it up there and mess around with it. But anyone that follows me, you know that I like to limit the amount of editing that I do. So my style of shooting is to shoot in a film-like style. So all my my colours is towards hectare. So that's kind of the colour palette that I like. And that's why I like using this, because it allows me to create those light leak effects that we used to get in film many moons ago. So let's head over to the studio, let's start getting creative and let's see what we can do. Hello everyone, and welcome to the studio side of things. We've got my lovely wife here, so she's going to be our model for today. I just want to quickly talk about lighting. It is very well lit in here at the moment. That is purely because I've had to put a light here and 2 lights over there just to light us because of the filming purposes. So I want you to see me and what I'm doing. Treat this as we're only using the ambient light to take a picture of Lisa. And the reason I wanted to do that, we could have used flash, but I think using flash is the next step of creativity, and that's a whole nother video. So keeping it real, I think using ambient light, because the majority of you will be using this in your own home, using the ambient light in your own home. When you go outside, using that beautiful sun and getting really creative as well. Once you've mastered using ambient light, then it's time to move on to flash. I think throwing all that in the mix is a bit too much just to get you started. So let's keep our creative minds focused. We'll get creative with the Omni and this light that's around us at the moment. Well, I think let's get the camera, talk about the camera, and then we'll do our first picture so you can see it come up on the screen, and then we'll do a little breakdown and see what we've done with it. Okay. So for this, I'm using the Fuji X100V, as I mentioned before. This camera is kind of what I say, it's my personal camera. It comes on holiday with me. It's small, it's compact. So it's a 35mm camera. That's the fixed lens, because it's a fixed lens. But you can buy adapters to it. I like to shoot 50mm, and I've actually got the adapter on to turn it into a 50mm lens. Great for portraits. The Omni, we've set it up with our step down ring. So it's actually got a 67mm step down ring. And again, when I mentioned before, the majority of my lenses are actually 67mm, which is brilliant because it means I just use one step down ring that goes across the board on all my lenses and adapters as well. So we've put the ring on, or the disc, if you like to call it that, and we've set it up with some very unique crystals. Now I've got the horseshoe on here, and I've actually got the prism on here as well. They both work really well together, and they give this really sort of, if I was to call it like a crystal bokeh-licious, okay, so that's going to be the word today, crystal bokeh-licious. And it's beautiful for framing someone if you're going to do a portrait session. I know we're doing it indoors and it isn't the most flattering background, it's just grey. The light source in here, I actually know what the colour temperature is in here. So the colour temperature in here is 5800 Kelvin. When you're outside, when you're setting up your camera, especially using things like this, I do think it's good to work in manual and to start understanding your Kelvin temperature. So that's your white balance, okay? Instead of using auto white balance, lock in your Kelvin. Outside, sunny day, 5800 Kelvin, beautiful, you get some lovely pictures, and it gives really nice skin tones as well. That's what I would generally do for my wedding portraits. I would work in manual, I would put the Kelvin in, create the effect in camera, so when I show the bride and groom, they're just, you know, their eyes open up, they get so excited on the images and they want to show all their family and friends. So let's do the first shot. We'll get it up on the screen and you can see. Camera settings for this, everyone's going to ask me. So I'm at ISO 2000, I'm at 200th of a second and I'm shooting at f2. When I'm doing portraits and I'm using the crystals, I find it's better to shoot at low apertures, and that way the crystals sort of blur into the image, but the subject is perfectly sharp. If you're shooting at f8, f16, then you tend to see the sort of the outline of the crystals come in. So that is one thing to know there. It's definitely better working at lower apertures when you are using this type of accessories. Okay, so obviously that would be different if you're doing macro and you're using them because of the 1:1 ratio, but for portraits I definitely say shoot at low apertures so the effect blends into the image. So let's get that first shot done and let's see what we get. Turn the camera on. I'm just going to come into there. Beautiful, nice. We'll get that. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at that. There we go. So we can see that's up on the screen now. I'm looking at here at the back of the camera. Obviously, it's exactly the same as what you're seeing. We've got that really nice effect on the left-hand side. The top left-hand side. This is the shoe horse crystal, and it's creating this like dapple-like bokeh that's coming into the image. And then on the right-hand side of the image, you can see how I've basically got the crystal almost vertical there, and that's bringing in this sort of double reflection of Lisa, how it comes across, and we can play around with that. We can sort of move it around a bit. Colours, really nice, again straight out of camera. I've just set up this camera how I like to shoot and my colour palette, and I would probably say, looking at this, there's actually nothing to edit, so we could just use that image. We could tweet it off and it could be brilliant, amazing, everyone love it, get loads of likes and follows, hopefully. So let's just have a little play around with this. Now, of course, we've got live view going on, so, you know, I could just look at the back here. Now, what I like to do is just do a little twist to it and take the picture. So that'll come up on the screen and we can have a look. And it's just that little twist that I like to do. Now remember, we can, depending on your colour palette that you like, depends on, perfect, just there like that. That's a nice one, cool. So it depends on your colour palette, it depends on how you shoot. If you're like me, film's got this totally different look. Now with film, you always overexpose. So no matter the film speed you got, when you put it in your camera, you always overexposed. Now I take that onto the digital cameras. So because I do shoot in JPEG, I like to try and get everything 99% right in camera. And one of the things that I found with digital cameras is even when you get the exposure correct, you know, it's in that center on the 0, digital cameras tend to underexpose the image ever so slightly. It's like this safeguard they've put in where if it overexposes, it ruins the image. So they put this little safeguard in where it always underexposes ever so slightly. And that's what I found. So I always like to overexpose just a touch to get that image I want. So, and again, the last image that come up, and I'm going to show you on the back of the camera so you can see that. There we go. Well, if it focuses, which it's probably not going to because it's focused on Lisa. So the camera that I'm filming on, it's got eye detection and it's actually focusing on Lisa's eye, so it's staying focused on her no matter what, but it's up on the screen so you can see it there. That's straight out of camera. Now a beautiful picture, we've got some lovely bokeh coming on. Imagine that outside when you've got the browns and greens and the yellows coming in from the flowers and the trees. So imagine all that coming into it, because don't forget these are crystals. So because they're translucent, because you can see through them, it will bring the colour in whatever is in its surrounding. Okay, so great thing to have a look at. And of course, the image will change where the camera's positioned. So for instance, now if it's up like vertical, the light's coming in and hitting the crystals at different angles. So I can move this crystal ever so slightly across to there maybe, or I can bring it in closer, say to there. And you can see how I've just moved the prism across. We'll just have a little look, and now that's just broadened across and we're getting that reflection coming in. And we'll just move this again so we can get a different effect from it again. Best thing with mirrorless cameras, we get this live view. So every bit of movement we do, we get to see instantly. And again, I'm just going to bring it in there and take that picture. So we see that come up again, really nice. We've just, you can see how I've moved it basically vertical now, the prism. But I'm shooting the camera in its portrait orientation, you know, it's vertical orientation. So if we went to landscape orientation, yeah, and we took a picture, the crystals and the horseshoe are in totally different places. So it's going to do another effect. I mean, I could just maneuver them all around and change the effect, but let's see what it does. Hey, you know, it costs nothing. It's digital. It's free to do. Let's get creative, okay? So again, I'm just going to do a little tap on there. Have a look. I'm just going to dial that down ever so there. Perfect. You'll see that coming in. I'm going to do that as well. Perfect. Okay, so did you see that? That's come up on screen. Again, a total different look. The streaks coming down. A little bit too bright, so let's just change that ever so slightly. We can do that on here. We're going to change it. There, perfect, nice. Perfect, get that coming in, really dreamy look coming on. See them coming up. Nice. And there. See how when I move, I'm just going to come down and you can see the reflection change above Lisa's head. So there. So a couple of images come up there. Okay, totally different look, how it's all streaking in. We can improve on that slightly, and again, it's all to do with, so this shall just drop it down a little bit, perfect. Nice, moving into the corner there. And let's have a look at that. So that's up on the screen there. And all we've done is we've moved her into the corner to bring that in. So you can see a little black mark up on the corner, and that is this here. So let's move that out of the way. Let's get rid of that. We'll move this across a bit. We'll move it down slightly. So manoeuvring the crystal to where I want it. I'm going to put Lisa in the corner there. I'm going to perfect, nice. I'm going to move back slightly and get her there, nice. Okay, cool, yeah, I like it. So some really wicked effects like shining in there. Again, we can change this up even more. So this, let's bring it across and have it vertical. Now we need to look in, and we'll bring that in. And I'm just going to add it in ever so slightly, just to there. And just bring Lisa's there. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we've moved it over to the other side. So you can see how creative you can get with this. So that's with obviously the crystal. I do like the crystal, one of my favourite ones. Now this is a smaller crystal. This is a great way of experimenting. Your favourite ones, have them lined up and just see which effect that you prefer. I'm going to put this on and I'll show you the difference from this as well. The wands are great for really blending in and pushing. Let's see if we can push that over to there. Nice. Get this lightly coming all the way across. Bring it, Lisa, down, nice and sharp. Brilliant. You see these coming up? Nice. And you see how the wand is pushing it across the top. It's coming along the top there. We've got this massive sort of streak of light coming across. Now, if that was outside, again, the translucent, so you would have whatever's outside all coming across. There's a great way of creating a puddle with one of these, so I will show you that on the last stage we do. But let's see if we can change it to one more. So we'll take this off. And this is the Wavy Line. Okay, love this one. Now, this is probably one of my favourite things about this system. The magnets, how fast it is to change. Could you imagine in, your editing software and you're trying to figure out, the look or the feel that you want to do, as where if you're physically there and you have a pocket full of these adapters, just by pulling it out, popping it on, and you can maneuver it around and get that amazing effect that you couldn't actually create on a computer, because the effect, not only is it dependent on which crystal you use or wand you use, but it's also dependent on the environment that's around you and the colours that are around you as well. So let's have a go with this one. Let's see what we can do. So as I was saying before, because of new cameras being, the digital era and what you see is what you get, we have this brilliant function where as soon as we look through, we get the effect. So I've just tapped the button there, so we'll throw that image up so you can see. Even if Lisa was blinking or eyes closed, we'll throw it up. But as soon as I'm looking through, without even taking a picture, I can see the effect coming in. And we can maneuver this one. I want this coming over the head to match kind of that shoe horse coming in and bringing the effect in there. And, it's just perfect there. Nice, take that. And this is what I love about this, by bringing it in, we'll move it out and across. We'll get that there. Perfect. Cool. It's like Christmas, all that glitter and, oh, that's it. Yeah, we'll get that. Perfect. Nice. All that sort of bokeh coming in, all that glittery, glittery coming in. I can see I've just pushed this black part again into the corner there. So let's maneuver that out now. Let's fix the problem. There we go, there. Cool, perfect, nice. And we'll do another one, nice, like that, cool. Now, what we can do, one like that as well. So you can see the last two images, how we could change it from portrait to landscape instantly, but it gave a totally different look, and how the different ones and the different crystals gives an absolute complete different look. So one last one. So this is what I call the rainbow effect. So let's just pop this on and let's see what we can get from this. So I like this one for its kind of rainbow. There we go. Perfect. Bring that in. Let's see if we can get, oh, look at that, that's magical there. We'll have that. And look at the rainbow colours really coming in there. That's film. To me, that's a light leaks from a camera that's coming in. That really is. That really simulates when the light leaks are happening from those old cameras and using film, and you're getting them all come in. You just can't create that with digital cameras nowadays. You have to create it normally in Photoshop to get that look. So to be able to just carry this, pop it on, and if you are that kind of vintage shooter, if you love film and you edit towards film, and you think, you know what, this image, it would really suit that kind of light leak rainbow coming into it, then wow, you know, pop it on, take the picture, your basically job's done. You've saved yourself so much time in editing. So I hope this has been really informative for you. I hope you've got a better understanding now on how the Omni system works, how you can benefit from it, and just how your creative skills can just grow just by using this Omni system when you're out and about.
Dreamy artistic images.
Emotive and soulful imagery.
That extra recognition and quirkiness.
Really unique images.
Se olvidaron completamente.
Extraordinary results.
Creamy bokeh and a dreamy feel.
Creative and quirky landscapes.
Unique blur effect.
Fun flares.
Poetic, oniric look.
Something extraordinary